Hare Krishna, Kalachakra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranams, Prabhu. If you can just turn on your video.
One second, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Good video working, Prabhu. For some reason, my laptop has some issues with the video. Suddenly,
It's perfect,
something goes off. No, I don't know how in the middle of the thing suddenly it goes off. There's such things can just keep me, remind me so that I can.
Yeah, but now it's perfect, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
So should we start straight away, Prabhu, or should we do Radha Madhav, or what?
However you wish, Prabhu, no problem. I'll just do a little bit of introduction first.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya on a Saturday morning. We'll be just continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, which actually talks about the chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. And today we'll be discussing about verse 33, and we have the pleasure of having His Grace Kalachakra Prabhu before us. So Prabhu, over to you. Dandavats. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So nice. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji's, for joining us in this situation. Saturday morning, such a beautiful time to meditate on Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no specific time, place, and circumstances required to do Bhagavatam. But still, when we are in the association of devotees, Bhagavatam tastes so much more sweeter. So thank you so much for the opportunity to glorify Bhagavatam in the midst of all you wonderful devotees. We'll start off with the Mangalacharan prayers and then proceed with the verse for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Munde Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram Shnupada Krishna Srimati Mahavishnu Swami Namo Vishnupada Krishna Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidunamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauri Bhattacharya Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mataji Standard Pranam. Thank you very much. We'll just proceed with the verse for today. I think it's one of the most beautiful verses, especially the beginning of the Rudra Gita, the prayers by Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna. It's 4:24:33. Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitam ta Atmavad Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitam ta Atmavid Varya Swastaye Swastirastu me Bhavataradhasaradham Sarvasma Atmane Namaha. Shri Rudra Vacha Jitam ta Atmavid Varya Swastaye Swastirastu me Bhavataradhasaradham Sarvasma Atmane Namaha. Shri Rudra Vacha, Lord Shiva began to speak. Jitam, all glories, te unto you, Atmavit, self-realized, Varya, the best, Swastaye, unto the auspicious, Swastihi, auspiciousness, Astu, let there be, may, of me, Bhavata, by you, Aradasa, by the all-perfect, Radham, worshipable, Sarvasmai, the Supreme Soul, Atmane, unto the Supreme Soul, Namaha, obeisances. Translation and purpose divine grace of Chana and the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation is here. Lord Shiva addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the following prayer. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories unto you. You are the most exalted of all self-realized souls. Since you are always auspicious for the self-realized, I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of all perfect instructions you give. You are the super soul. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you as the supreme living being. Purport is here. As soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord to offer the Lord a prayer, the devotee immediately glorifies the Lord in the beginning by saying, all glories unto you, my Lord. The Lord is glorified because he is considered to be the chief of all self-realized souls. As said in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 2.13, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The Supreme Being, the personality of God, it is the chief living being among us, all living beings. There are different kinds of individual living beings. Some of them are in this material world and some are in the spiritual world. Those who are in the spiritual world are known to be completely self-realized because on the spiritual platform, the living entity is not forgetful of his service to the Lord. Those who are in the spiritual world are known to be completely self-realized because on the spiritual platform, the living entity is not forgetful of his service to the Lord. Interesting statement. Therefore, in the spiritual world, all those who are in the devotional service of the Lord are eternally fixed, for they understand the position of the Supreme Being as well as their individual constitution. Thus, amongst self-realized souls, the Lord is known as the perfectly self-realized soul. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. When the individual soul is fixed in his knowledge of the Lord as the Supreme Being, he actually becomes established in an all auspicious position. Lord Shiva prays herein that his auspicious position continue eternally by virtue of the Lord's mercy upon him. Lord Shiva prays herein that his auspicious position continue eternally by virtue of the Lord's mercy upon him. The Supreme Lord is all perfect, and the Lord instructs that one who worships him also becomes perfect. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Mattaha Smritir Jnanam Apohanancha. The Lord is situated as a super soul in everyone's heart, but he is so kind to his devotees that he gives them instructions by which they may continue to progress. When they receive instructions from the All Perfect, there is no chance of their being misled. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Jena Mam Upayantite. The Lord is always ready to give instructions to the pure devotee so that the devotees can advance further and further in devotional service. Since the Lord gives instruction as Sarvatma, the super soul, the Lord Shiva offers him respect with the word Sarvatmane Atmane Namah. Sarvatma Atmane Namah. The individual soul is called Atma, and the Lord is also called Atma as well as Paramatma. Being situated in everyone's heart, the Lord is known as the Supreme Atma. Therefore, all obeisances are offered unto him. In this regard, one may refer to the prayers of Queen Kunti in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.20. Tatha paramahamsana muninam amlatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartham katham pashyema histriyah. The Lord is always ready to give instructions to the Paramahamsas, or the topmost devotees of the Lord, who are completely liberated from all contaminations of the material world. The Lord always gives instructions to such exalted devotees to inform them how they can remain fixed in devotional service. Similarly, it is stated in the Atmarama verse, Bhagavatam 1.7.10, Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha Apyurukrame Purvantyahitukim Bhaktim Yithambhuta Guno Harihi. The word Atma Rama refers to those who are not interested in the material world but are simply engaged in spiritual realization. Such self-realized persons are generally considered in two categories, impersonal and personal. However, impersonalists also become devotees when they are attracted by the personal transcendental qualities of the Lord. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wanted to remain a fixed devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. As explained in the following verses, Lord Shiva never desires to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord like the impersonalists. Rather, he thinks that it would be good fortune for him to continue to be fixed in the understanding of the Lord as the Supreme Being. By this understanding, one realizes that all living entities, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and other demigods, are servants of the Supreme Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Transcendental Purport Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mataji. It's a very deep and involved purport and a wonderful, wonderful prayer. Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitam Ta Atmavid Paryaha Swastaye Swastirastu Me Pavatarada Saradham Sarvasma Atmane Namaha. So Prabhu's Mataji's, this is glorious prayers, especially this chapter. The entire chapter is actually so wonderful, and it's one of the most important chapter in the entire fourth canto, because it has lot of misconceptions that is there prevalent, especially in the so-called Hindu religion. No, Sanatana Dharma doesn't have those confusions, but when there are people having this thing about, is Shiva greater, Vishnu greater, and all those kind of things, over time, historically, this has been happening quite a while. The arguments between who is greater and who should be the person to be worshipped, etc. And Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. That is why any confusions, any doubts or misunderstandings are so wonderfully clarified by this beautiful, glorious scripture. Because you see, suppose you say Brahma is greater, then Brahma is glorifying Krishna all through Bhagavatam. And then people say Shiva is greater, then Shiva is again glorifying Krishna, not only in this chapter. Yes, many other places Lord Shiva glorifies Krishna, and he's offering his prayers, right? And even the Devatas, they also offer their prayers to Krishna. So it is so perfectly established in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam who is the Supreme. There's nothing more to really, do any research on this, and that is why these prayers are so very important, because in these prayers, the Lord Shiva and all those such exalted personalities, they all come under the Mahajanas list, right? And they establish so very clearly that who is the Supreme whom we should worship and why we should worship, and all philosophical conclusions. So that's why prayers are so very important. You see, the first we will get into the few more things. The verses before this, some of the verses before the prayer starts, they are very, very instructive. Let's read a couple of them and see why Lord Shiva has come all the way, even though Prachetas were not, the Prachetas were not really actually praying to Lord Shiva, but Lord Shiva came by himself when he saw that these Prachetas were sincerely trying to meditate on the Lord, do devotional service. So if we get back to the verse number 30, it's a very interesting thing. The translation is very nice. 4:24:30. Here, Lord Shiva explains the reason why he has come. He explains the reason why he has come down, and also he makes a very, very interesting point, which we don't really understand about Lord Shiva. Let's try to read this verse. Sorry, the translation. 4:24:30. Lord Shiva tells to Prachetas, "You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. It's an amazing statement that Lord Shiva makes here. It is clearing all the doubts that we have. Oh, why Shiva is also the supreme? Actually, Shiva is supreme in the sense that he is supreme because he is the devotee, he is the supreme devotee of Krishna. So he is saying, you are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So he is treating all the devotees as good as Krishna. That's what we are supposed to do for spiritual master. Yes, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastre. Every day we sing. So from that perspective, like a Sevaya Bhagavan, Sevaka Bhagavan, we say, right? So from that perspective, as a servant God, we can always see Lord Shiva in that mood. Because Lord Shiva is considering all the devotees of Krishna in that mood. So what's wrong in seeing Lord Shiva in that way? So that creates the first confusion. We don't have any question about the supremacy, but at the same time, Lord Shiva is not undermined just because he's a devotee. He's actually even more glorious in that sense, you know. And when Mother Parvati asked this question to Lord Shiva, as you know, whom should we worship as the best, as the most powerful, or the topmost worship? Then Lord Shiva answers very nicely in Shiva Purana or Padma Purana, I don't remember. He says this: Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam param. Tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. This is why that conclusion is very nice. And only in our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, you know, this is so very clearly established. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam param. Of all the Aradhanas, worshipping Lord Vishnu is the supreme. Tasmat parataram. Then he goes further and says that even more than that, there is something that is there. What is that? Tadiyanam samarchanam. Tadiyana means those who are his servants or associates or paraphernalia, whatever. They are all by worshipping them is even greater than worshipping Krishna. Mad Bhakta Puja Abhyadika. Krishna himself says, worshipping my devotees is even more than worshipping me. So from that perspective, worshipping Lord Shiva is not a problem at all. And he is happy when he is worshipped in connection with Krishna. As Prabhupada himself writes so beautifully in the purport, you know. So if you see in this purport, Prabhupada writes something really, really beautiful. I really love this purport. Some few lines. Where is that coming? Starts from, because Lord Shiva is a great devotee. Yes, the second paragraph. No, you see the second paragraph. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. It's a very interesting statement. Lord Shiva is teaching, as a Mahajana, he is teaching us that if at all we are devotees of Krishna, we should not have any discriminative mentality towards any devotee of Krishna. They may be higher, lower in their consciousness, they may be mature, immature in their behaviors, whatever. But as long as they are devotees of Krishna, we should have a Samadarshi mentality, like how Krishna sees us all in Samadarshi. That is why Lord Shiva, this statement is very interesting. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. First of all, we should love the devotees of the Lord. If you don't love the devotees of the Lord and just worship only the deities, or you know, or someone who is favorable to us, we talk to them, then we are not actually doing a devotional service that is pleasing to the Lord. That which captures Krishna in our heart, that which makes him obliged, that is the actual devotional service. But if you are having a Bahya or Bhinnadrik service, then our devotional service is more in the modes of passion and ignorance. Krishna is not very appreciative of that. So this is a very interesting line. We have to love. Naturally, we should love all living entities, more so for devotees, because they are rare breed, first of all. So Lord Shiva told the Prachetas, further the purport, that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. How nice statement this is, Prabhu's Mataji's. Lord Shiva himself is telling that if because you are devotees of Krishna, I am loving you, then we should not have any doubts whatsoever in saying that, oh, I am worshipping Lord Krishna. Will Shiva be upset with me? Will Ganesh ji be upset with me? No. It's so very clear. Lord Shiva himself is saying, and Prabhupada is enlightening further on this. Then go further. Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. It's such a beautiful thing. Not only to the Prachetas, but to everyone he is very dear. And then he goes further. Not only are the devotees dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, devotees of the Supreme Lord also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. These few lines are so amazing, Prabhu's Mataji. Just so nice, so pleasing to hear, and so pleasing to see the beautiful devotion of Lord Shiva upon Lord Krishna. Vaishnavana Metashambhu, the best of all devotees. That's why, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care if somebody is worshipping him or glorifying him, offering him. You know the story of how much mad Lord Shiva was to get the Mahaprasadam of Lord Vishnu. And Narad Muni bringing it over, and he ate it without even giving to Mother Parvati, right? So this is a very important point to note, that there is no clash at all at the end of the day. We are all confusing ourselves with so many different clashes that, oh, this is so great, that is great, and so much nonsense arguments that people do, forgetting the fact that we are all dying. We have no time left, and all our life we are arguing about this and about that, and we don't taste these nectarian purports and nectarian shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then at the end of our life, no senses work. We lose our life in the most pathetic way. And that is also so nicely highlighted by Lord Shiva when he highlights the reality of our life, in 4:24:66. This is one of the most powerful shlokas of Lord Shiva. And this shloka, just like any other devotee who prays in Srimad Bhagavatam, that Lord Shiva also brings out this very, very important precarious situation we are in, which we don't realize at all. It's 4:24:66. Mattamuchair iti kritya chintaya pravruddhalobam vishayeshu lalasam tvam apramatah sahasa bhipadyase shulle lihano hir Ivakumantakah. My dear Lord, all living entities within this material world are mad after planning for things, and they're always busy with the desire to do this or that. This is due to uncontrollable greed. The greed for material enjoyment is always existing in the living entity, but your Lordship is always alert, and in due course of time, you strike him, just as a snake seizes a mouse and very easily swallows him. So amazing verse. So amazing purport. This verse is so powerful that is one of the very, very rare verses that is repeated twice in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam doesn't repeat the slokas exactly word for word as it is. But this sloka, Pramattam Uchchairiti Kritachandya, is repeated in two places. One in Lord Shiva's prayer, another in Muchkunda's prayers. The 10th canto, 51st chapter, So this is a very, very important thing to notice. Pramattam Uchchairiti Kritya Chintaya. People are all mad after planning for things. That Shiva is telling, because he is the controller of death, he is our destroyer, controller of annihilation. So he knows how he is killing people, right? How he is finishing off people. And the beauty of the example is so amazing from Prabhu's Mataji. We should meditate on this today, because this gives us the reality. Why we should do devotional service? What situation we are in? We are not doing it as a a favor to Krishna, or favor to our spiritual master. No, it is our obligation to do as a reciprocation to the greatest treasure or the causeless mercy they have given to us. See this, Pramattam Uchchair, Ucha Pramatta, Mattam Unmattam, Pramattam Unmattam, the 3 degrees are there. When Ucha Pramatta, height of madness, is there, Iti Kritya Chintaya, we don't care. 5 years down the line, I will have this much money. 10 years down the line, I will have this much money. The next moment, he will be gone. We don't know. It's not that we are against savings, but then we don't want people to be too greedy. The lobha, pravruddha lobham. Lobham is itself is greed. Pravriddha lobham means uncontrollable and continuously increasing greed. As it is, greed is increasing. As it is, greed means increasing desire for achieving things, more and more and more, grabbing and other things. Pravriddha means very much advanced in the greed. Vishayeshu lalasam, always wanting to enjoy tiny, this tucha, this tucha things. He says people are mad like this. They have so many different things. Today one thing building, tomorrow another building. Here grab one ground, there grab one ground. How much ever ground we grab, we are not. We don't own even 1 inch of land when we go. Even after we go, when we are destroyed, when we will just have handful of ash. That's all. So tvam apramatah sahasabi padyase. But you are alert, you are not mad like these people, Krishna. Sahasa abhipadyase, very easily you finish them off. How do you do? That example is so beautiful. Chul lelihano, here, iva akum antakaha. Lelihana means the tongue, our tongue is all just small, just maybe as long as the palm. But the snake's tongue is really long because it has to go too far to capture things, and then it rolls and it takes it inside. Chul lelihano ahir. Ahir means snake. Iva akum. Akum means our mouse. See this mouse, if you sit at home and see, maybe some mouses are there in our some homes. They will run so fast that it's very difficult to even notice where they are going from and where they are going to. They run really, really fast. To calculate their speed, it's very difficult. And that's why because we cannot capture it physically, that's why there are many, the mouse traps and other things are being brought to capture them in an indirect way by taking advantage of their weakness to food items. So this goes from one corner to another so fast it runs. But you see the snake, ahir, it just sits, it doesn't agitate. To capture, we suppose you have to capture the snake, will be going here and there, here and there, here and there. But the snake doesn't get agitated at all. It just sits there, very fixed, stationary. Because it knows the speed of the mouse, it knows the direction of the mouse, it knows where it is going and where it is going from and where it's going to. So see, the snake is not a scholar, science scholar or physics PhD or whatever. But without any of this studying maths or anything, or physics and all, it can exactly calculate with what velocity, what speed it should go to capture the mouse which is going at certain speed. We have all the speedometer and this and that to calculate the speed. For mouse, for the snake, there is no need for speedometers, etc. And it just captures mouse, just one swallow, that's all. No, it exactly hits. It doesn't miss the target at all. And exactly it hits and swallows. You will see that as soon as it swallows, the whole body will go and only the tail or something will be outside. And that also slowly you will see that going inside. And there is not a sign of that mouse existing. 1 second before, the mouse was going so fast, and the next second, mouse is not there, not to be seen at all. This is exactly the situation we are in, Prabhu's messages. Very precarious situation. Right now, I am giving Bhagavatam class or this opportunity of given. We are all sitting and hearing. But next moment, we don't know what's going to happen. Like I was talking to my friend yesterday that his mother passed away last month, unfortunately. And she was quite all right. She was drinking, she was eating and all right. Suddenly, out of nowhere, she just got some pain and not even 1 minute. She just fell flat. And that's it. No revival. Krishna doesn't take long to finish us off, And we are living so much. This is why these prayers are so important. It's not only that they glorify Krishna, the devotees, the pure devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, but they also explain the reality of our situation. Where we are currently in our life and where we have to go. These things are, and it's uniform across everybody. So many came They controlled the whole world. They were conquerors. They were like world, this great, that great, etc. Alexander the Great, Akbar the Great. Where are they? No signs of them also. This is how Krishna is so powerful. And we have to understand this nature of Krishna to come seriously to devotional service. This is Lord Shiva's mood, really. But he also glorifies the beauty of the Lord. So nicely, he glorifies the great qualities of the Lord. This is one of the longest prayers next to Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj's prayer is the longest. And next to that, this is the second longest prayer in the entire Bhagavatam. And Lord Shiva gives all the beautiful conclusions of Lord Shiva so nicely. So Lord Shiva gives all the beautiful conclusions about devotional service, about the Lord, about the devotees, everything so clearly. So this is one verse I just wanted to highlight before we get to the current verse. In this verse, Prabhu's Mataji's, this before we go to the 33, the verse number 32 is very important, because Lord Shiva is telling something very, very, very interesting, very, very subtle and deep. He says in verse number 32 that what's that? No, I think it is 32, but in 31 he says, now I shall chant one mantra which is not only transcendental, pure and auspicious, but is the best prayer for anyone who is aspiring to attain the ultimate goal of life, which is Krishna, servant of Krishna, to become a servant of Krishna. When I chant this mantra, please hear it carefully and attentively. These 2 points are very, very important, Prabhu's Mataji. Hear it carefully and attentively. Shruyatam tam vadami vaha nishreyasa karanchapi shruyatam tat vadami vaha. In this purport, Prabhupada writes something very interesting, no one should think of the prayers recited by Lord Shiva as being sectarian. Rather, they are very confidential, so much so that anyone desiring the ultimate prosperity or auspicious goal of life must take the instructions of Lord Shiva and pray and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Lord Shiva himself did. This is a very interesting thing. In this verse, especially Prabhupada highlights this point about carefully and attentively, hearing carefully and attentively. And this is Prabhupada is highlighting this further in the verse 32 purport. When in the purport of this 32, verse number 32, we read the 31 verse. Prabhupada expands on that carefully and attentively point in the verse 32 purport. He says that when a mantra is chanted by a great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. So nice. Why are we receiving the Diksha, Harinam Diksha from the spiritual master? This is a very subtle point that Prabhupada is highlighting here. He is saying that further that when a mantra is chanted by great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. Although the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is powerful in itself, a disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from his spiritual master. For when the mantra is chanted by the spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. Lord Shiva advised the sons of the king to hear him attentively, for inattentive hearing is offensive. So many times we talk about it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. You know why it is offense to be inattentive while chanting? Because when we are inattentive while chanting, the inattentiveness is actually inattentive hearing also. More than inattentive chanting, inattentive hearing is what is the effect of inattentive chanting. And that is where it's an offense. The inattentive hearing is offensive. We are not hearing. This way it comes, that way it goes. We don't really bother about what is the time that we are spending on learning these things. How carefully we should attentively and carefully we study Bhagavatam. These things we are not so so intense about it. So this point is so nicely corroborated by one beautiful shloka in Padma Purana in the Bhagavat Mahatmya. Shloka goes nicely like this: Adridam cha hatam jnanam pramadena hatam shrutam sandigdhohi hato mantro vyagra chitta hato japaha. 4 things that is so beautifully said in this shloka, Knowledge, adridam cha hatam jnanam. When the knowledge is not firmly fixed or firmly rooted, it is lost. For knowledge firmly rooted means what? That knowledge should be converted into realization by putting it into practice, by contemplating on where to practice, how to practice, and putting it into practice. That is how the knowledge, it becomes fixed and rooted. If our Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, our study of Prabhupada's books has to be steady, then it should be firmly rooted in the form of developing more and more taste for hearing, chanting, service, etc. So that is where adridam cha hatam jnanam. Otherwise, all the knowledge is lost. We don't. And how? In what way more we can make it fixed? By sharing the knowledge with everyone. The knowledge which is shared, it grows. The knowledge which is locked up, it just gets destroyed. It just becomes stagnant and stunted, and it's of no use. So knowledge is only useful when it is distributed and when it is practiced. That is the first point. Second thing is pramadena hatam shrutam. Hearing is lost when one is inattentive. Pramada. When we are inattentive, all that we hear is of no use. There are times we see, over the pandemic period, so many online classes were there, which is good. But then the hearing part is not so attentive. I've seen that in many cases. I've experienced it myself also, and I've heard it from many other senior Vaishnavas, that people, because there is no reason to be present in person, we switch off the videos, we switch off the audios, everything is mute. When the person is speaking, we can keep speaking something else. Nobody will get to know. And who is losing? Is the speaker losing? No, it's we who are losing, because we are the one who are spending the time and we are not getting the knowledge. So that is where this pramadena hatam shrutam, this next thing is very, very important. That's what Prabhupada is telling here, the purport also, and Lord Shiva himself is saying in this verse. The next thing is sandigdhohi hato mantro. Sandigdhohi hato mantro means when some advice or some mantra is given, if we doubt its capability, then the power of the mantra, we can't obtain the power of the mantra. It is not possible, So that is the third thing. And the fourth thing is vyagra chitta hato japaha. Japa is lost through a restless mind. When our mind is always restless, when we are chanting, then all the effects of our japa gets lost. We don't get Krishna prema. We may get maybe say maximum we'll get is maybe some say liberation or some freedom from some material miseries maybe. But then Krishna prema is very difficult if we are not attentive. Vyagra chitta, always wavering mind. That becomes mind is restless. So somehow or other, we should try to how do you fix this? By understanding the remaining time available with us is a rare commodity, and it's a decreasing commodity, and it is not going to increase in any way. And when it is going to finish, also we don't know. At least if I know that I will live for the next 10 years for sure, then I will have some, I will be a bit more relaxed. But I don't know. There are so many cases we saw instant deaths, So this is the important point that Lord Shiva is trying to give us. Now, these previous verses, couple of verses which we saw to understand the mood in which we should approach Lord Shiva's prayers, mood in which Lord Shiva himself is praying, how the prachetas were able to attract Lord Shiva by their sincerity. All these things, gives us more and more eagerness or earnestness to approach the prayers. First and foremost thing we need is the earnestness, the urge, the eagerness to learn from these prayers, Prabhu's Mataji. If we have that, then automatically the relish, the joy, the cheerfulness that we get out of studying these glorious verses in the Bhagavatam will automatically come and occupy us. They will overcome us. That is where is very important to know. And the first line of the purport for 4:24:33, the verse which we have discussed now, it comes to help us really so nicely. What is that point? The first point is, Prabhupada, the first line itself, he is giving us a very, very deep, thought-provoking statement. As soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord to offer the Lord a prayer, the devotee immediately glorifies the Lord in the beginning by saying, "All glories unto you, my Lord." Such a beautiful statement. Such a beautiful statement. As soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord to offer the Lord a prayer. This is a very important line point. Mataji's Prabhu, please understand this point. Because Prabhupada is telling here a very subtle and sublime point. Many times we may offer some prayers, we may do some service, but all these things are not possible if Krishna does not sanction them. As soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord, unless and until the Paramatma inspires us to have the intention to glorify Krishna, we can't speak a single word glorifying Krishna. Now I am speaking not because of my capability, because Krishna chose, because Krishna inspired some other devotee to, okay, this person, you engage him in some seva, and came, and I got the opportunity, and I thought that, oh, it is important. It's the most important seva for me. We do have so many other engagements throughout the day, but considering this is the most important seva, when I think like that, then Krishna proceeds further to give me in realizing that service, actually making it happen. If I think that, oh, what's the point? It's an online task. Anyway, I have other things to do. I won't be able to do. I stayed very late previous night. I don't have much rest. All these kind of things I do. Then Krishna will take away the service opportunity. I become too lackluster. I become familiarity breeds contempt. I do become callous towards grabbing the opportunity for devotional service. So this is where first thing Prabhupada says, as soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord to offer prayers. How to understand this statement? It is so beautifully highlighted by Krishna himself to Lord Brahma in the verse number 3:9:38. That when after Lord Brahma offers his prayers in the 3rd canto, 9th chapter, he completes. You can see how much Lord Brahma was exhausted after going through the entire, alone is there, he's doing the tapas, everything alone. There is nobody to give him prasadam, nobody to take care of him, nobody to talk to him. We will just leave and go. But Lord Brahma stood firm. He was so dhridavrata, determined in his sankalpa. Iti sankalpya varnaya, he says, with great determination, he served Krishna, whatever instruction that was given to him. So after that, the Lord comes and gives him darshan, and Lord Brahma offers glorious prayers. But at the end of this thing, Lord Lord Krishna speaks back. Responds to Brahma's prayers. He speaks to Lord Brahma. Those verses are so beautiful, especially the verses after the completion of the prayers from 29th verse onwards. So here is 38th verse. Etcha kartanga mat stotram mat kathabhyudayankitam yadva tapasite nishta sa esha mad anugraha. See the translation. O Brahma, the prayers that you have chanted praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. What an amazing statement. What an amazing statement, Prabhupada. This clears the whole business. Like if you get back to that first statement of Prabhupada in his purport to from 4:24:33, that line is nothing but a paraphrase of this verse. And Prabhupada is, nothing that Prabhupada says is not in the Shastras. Everything is mapped to some words. So you see, Yatcha Karta Anga, Yatcha Karta, you have performed such amazing tapas, such amazing austerity, such amazing, wonderful choice words you have prayed, offered your prayers to me. You have glorified me by my transcendental activities. You have undertaken such huge penances, and your firm faith, the nishta, the faith that you have, that is also by causeless mercy. Always remember that. And this is the greatest secret for success in our spiritual life, Prabhu's Mataji. If you are always conscious that all that we are doing is nothing but the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord and our dear spiritual Master Srila Prabhupada, then we will never go wrong in our devotional service. Always, if you are conscious and aware, this is the greatest secret to keep alive in Krishna, keep ourselves alive in Krishna consciousness. And this shloka is the answer to all our problems. When we see that everything we are doing is by Krishna's arrangement, where can we be proud of? What can we be proud of our knowledge, of our penance or whatever? What can we be proud of? You see, we will be very acceptable. We will accept the whole situation. That I am not anything. I'm just some insignificant blade of grass. Anytime Krishna wants, he can take us away. Right? So this point is very important. Inspired by the Lord. The Lord inspires from the heart, based on the sincerity that we do. Dadami buddhi yogatam. That shloka is very powerful, very common verse. Kesham satata yukta. If we are satata yukta, then he does the dadami buddhi yogatam. That is what is inspiration. Right? And immediately we glorify the Lord, saying, all glories unto you, my Lord. This is such a beautiful thing, because otherwise I will be looking for my glories. I will not be looking to glorify Krishna. Who will glorify this person? I have done all the hard work. So the doer mentality is there. So I will not glorify Krishna enough. I will not glorify the other devotees enough. I will always be focused on I did, and I will always looking for people who are there to glorify me. What kind of a ridiculous devotional service that we are doing there? We should just little bit, we should think over it and see that this is not worth it. Better to just sincerely sweep the floor, as Prabhupada says, sweep the street, charlatan, rather than a charlatan, this thing, hypocrite. So prayers are a result of the benedictions of the Lord, which he bestows upon us when he is pleased with our service. Inspiration to glorify the Lord is also coming from him. This point we have to be very clear from this verse, because Lord Shiva did say, I am glorifying. This is a mantra which is very powerful, and it is come from different disciplic succession. So there is no need to question the doubt. So this is the very important point. First, very important point to understand from this verse, right? Then this further, the points that he is talking about is very nice. It's again beautiful. Another beautiful point that Prabhupada talks here in this purport, which is very important to note. The Lord is always ready to give instructions to the pure devotee so that the devotee can advance further and further in devotional service. Again, he repeats this further in the few lines later, that where is that line? The next paragraph after Tata Paramahamsanam. The Lord always gives instructions to such exalted devotees to inform them how they can remain fixed in devotional service. Fixed in devotional service, and this is very important. Krishna wants us to be fixed. Krishna doesn't want us to be like wandering here and there, so agitated, so unsteady. We ourselves don't like it. That is why we are looking for some confirmation from other people that Prabhu is my chanting all right, is my reading all right. No, when you do it all right, Krishna will tell you whether it is all right or not. Sometimes maybe we may have to get confirmation from the seniors, but not that always I'm looking for. When I'm looking for some confirmation, I'm not looking for a corrective instructions. I'm looking for confirmation that I'm doing all right. I'm not looking for correction. I'm looking for confirmation. So that is of no use. I just want them to be a yes man for me, because I already think that I am doing it all right. This doesn't work. So This the basic idea of prarthanas is two things: glorification of Krishna and purification of our soul. These are the only two things that we should be looking for. We can't be looking for, oh, if I do this prayer, somebody will call me, they will invite me for a class, or they will do this glorification of me, I will get all this name. This is all nonsense. There's nothing that we can gain by all this petty name and fame. For the time being, it may look like, oh, that person has got so many likes, this person has got so many followers, and so on and so forth. But this is all of no use when it comes to, because Krishna is always watching over us. He knows what is in our heart, what is our the sincerity of our purpose, or the purity of our purpose. Right? So I just finished this thing with one particular quote that we heard from our spiritual master many years ago about whether to study of Srila Prabhupada's books or any service for that matter. I will just share this interesting point. It's a very deep point here. What's that? Yes. Yeah. It goes like this. It does not matter whether you get a chance to preach Bhagavatam or not. That is a byproduct, and that is up to Krishna. But what is up to you in your hands is your desire to study Bhagavatam. This is how we are showing our commitment to Krishna. By seeing our desire to study Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna will inspire us. But okay, now you have to now you go and take this opportunity. Sorry, I just lost it. Just give me 1 second. Yes, sorry. So, but what is up to you in your hands is your desire to study Bhagavatam. That is what Krishna wants to see. How much desirable, how much we are having the desire. The more time you put aside for Bhagavatam, the more time Bhagavatam puts aside for you. If you neglect Bhagavatam, then the pages of Bhagavatam will neglect you. It will be just sitting in the showcase or cupboard or whatever, but we won't have our hand will not go and take it, to read Sudha Gita and Brahma's prayers and all these things. It will not go. It will run after so many things. Oh, there I should go, here I should go. Everything it will go, but except sit and study Bhagavatam or sit and chant on our mala. If you neglect Bhagavatam, then the pages of Bhagavatam will neglect you. The purpose of most important line, there's some noise coming in the background. The purpose of studying Bhagavatam is to always be chaste to Krishna. The purpose of studying Bhagavatam is to always be chaste to Krishna. Chastity is very important in devotional service. So chastity in devotional service is the key for Bhagavatam. And once we have chastity, then there is automatically attention. And when there is attention, attraction follows. This is what Prabhu's and Mataji's message, really the thing we are talking about how inattentiveness kills our devotional service. So the secret of being attentive is to be chaste. And the secret of being chaste is to accept Krishna as all in all and nothing else. Aslishyava padaratam pinashtamam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva yathatava vidadhatu lampato mat prananatastu sayevana paraha. With that mood, when we develop when we revitalize or rejuvenate the eternal relationship, our eternal relationship with Krishna, then our whole life is successful. We don't have to get anything else apart from that in our life. I stop here, Prabhu's Mataji's. This is such a glorious purport and glorious sloka is beginning with such nice glorification of the qualities of the Lord that it can take ages. I remember many years ago when my spiritual master, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, came to Minneapolis when we were there. I was exactly in this chapter, and he used to always ask us, which part of Bhagavatam you are reading, which shloka you are reading, like that. So we would go to office, come back. The program will be a little later. We'll come a little early, spend an hour or two with Maharaj before the program starts. So he will give us so many interesting assignments. You have to find out these qualities, where it is mentioned. You have to list them down. You should meditate on it, etc., etc. He would say. And then at one point he said that, when we are really relishing it, only one sloka or two sloka we will do in a day, and he will ask us questions on top of it. It is like a real intense study. And then he made a comment. We made a point that we are not going to leave Minneapolis until we complete this Rudra Gita. It is so beautiful and so wonderful. So like this, he made us more and more attached to, naturally attached to Bhagavatam, not forcefully, but with his own inspiration. By his own love for Bhagavatam, he is, even now we are not yet there, but he is giving us the push to be always in the shelter of Krishna and in the sound representation as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. All Prabhupada's books, and in the association of devotees, enjoy them. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji. Any questions, any comments, reflections, realizations?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful lecture as always you give. And I really, like that. But the way you summarized it so beautifully. Purpose of studying Srimad Bhagavatam is to always be chaste to Krishna. And that happens only when our endeavor is there. And that's how he gets his mercy as well. Wonderful, Prabhu. I just unmuted the line. So devotees, please feel free to ask questions or share your reflections.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
We are getting your association.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wonderful, Prabhu. I'm just a beginner. I just keep on hearing. I always wonder whether will I get a day when I can teach or not. But you said it's the desire which is more important than teaching. You said. Prabhu, wonderful class today.
Thank you, Mataji. The desire is, Tatra Laulyam Ekam Moolam, Rupa Goswami says, and Prabhupada often quotes this, that Laulyam means intense greed to obtain this, So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says the same thing, and he talks about the Prakashananda Saraswati and how he transforms them from being impersonalists into devotees. It's very important why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did this, why he gave us this treasure, even though we are not at all qualified. We should be so much eternally grateful to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even more to Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada gave us all these things which we don't even know, and now we are sitting and relishing. It's a total miracle it is when it comes to Shastras, because these Shastras, they are transcendental, and without having some taste for transcendence, it's not possible to approach them. And how nicely Srila Prabhupada and his sincere followers, senior Vaishnavas, exalted Vaishnavas, they are there in our movement. They are so nicely guiding us. And only one thing that we have to do, just stick to chanting Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Finish. Rest, everything will fall in place also. Thank you, Mataji. I see Anjan Prabhu.
Yes. Anjan Prabhu has raised his hand. Prabhuji, please unmute and speak up, Prabhu. Anjan Prabhu, you just raised your hand. If you can just speak up.
Maybe someone else in the meantime. He says he can't unmute.
He can't unmute? No, Prabhu. Okay, let me try doing that for him. No problem. Because everybody is allowed to unmute.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Prabhuji, one question. You mentioned that the Lord gives instructions to the pure devotee. But the problem is I'm not pure devotee. I'm like a pure scoundrel. So how to how to get out of this situation?
Prabhu, the Lord gives instruction to the pure devotee. That statement is correct. But the point is, The Lord gives instruction to the pure devotees who he thinks as pure devotees, not we think as pure devotees. It is our duty to consider that I am a pure rascal. Genuinely, we should feel it. But when we feel that way, then Krishna sees us as pure devotees. What is that? Apichesu duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. It is not enough to simply say, I am a rascal, I am a rascal, I am a rascal. Yes, we know we are rascals, but what are we going to do about it? That is more important. Take Prabhupada's books and read. Take the Japmala and chant. And that will invoke, force Krishna to give us his mercy. Because what Krishna sees is not the results, but he sees the endeavor. He sees our attempts. Even if our attempts are the worst of failure, worst of the destruction, still it's a complete mess also. Still, he will give us the greatest benediction. Take the example of Jatayu. In his attempt, he didn't succeed. He was killed in his attempt. Neither could he save Mother Sita. Ravan took Mother Sita away. But still, you see the greatest benediction he got in his last moment, leaving his life lying down in the lap of Lord Sri Ram. Even Dasarath could not get that blessing. You see? So Krishna only looks at the endeavor. And for us, our sincerity. Sincerity means as long as we think we are not sincere, we are sincere. So always keep ourselves in a humble position. Then Krishna is there to give us the mercy. The very fact that we are continuing to hear Bhagavatam, study Bhagavatam, associating with you, not losing the taste for associating with you is a very, very important thing. Many times what happens is we take association for granted and we lose the taste for the association, and Krishna takes us away. We think that we are living, but actually Krishna is sending us away. You don't realize that secret, the subtle point. So the whole thing is, Prabhu, it doesn't matter whether we are rascal or not. Krishna knows we are rascal. But in spite of that, he is telling, I am giving you the mercy, please take. And that mercy is what is Matchitta, Madhata Prana, Tesham, Satadiptanam, all these are association of devotees, glorify Krishna, chanting, dancing, kirtan, prasadam, what else we want? There is no one else who has given a more cheerful, joyful process for the most unqualified people to reach the most highest position ever in the past, never in the future. So we will be really thankful to Prabhupada and all our acharyas for that.
We have to consider ourselves, yes, Prabhu, we should consider ourselves very, very fortunate, actually, most fortunate.
Yes.
As you said, there is the rarest commodity you are saying. No? That's what we should be seeing all devotees as that way. That's a very nice point.
Like it is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says beautifully, that Prakashananda Saraswati interaction, that meeting comes twice in Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you have noticed. Once he glorifies the power of the holy name. It's in the Adi Lila, I think 7th chapter or Madhya Lila. There are two sections. One is Adi Lila 7th chapter, another is Madhya Lila 20th chapter, I think. In the second one, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifies the Srimad Bhagavatam. So nicely glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. And after they all get transformed into devotees, the Lord says, interestingly, he says that I came here to distribute this powerful devotional service. Nobody was there to purchase. But in the end, I distributed them free of cost. Now they are all become mad like me. It's so nice,
Yes.
That's the thing. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
I saw Prem Datta Prabhu unmuting, my dear friend.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Jai to see you. Very beautiful, Prabhu. You are nice to see you.
Same here, Prabhuji. It's so wonderful to always hear from you. Wonderful way you tell things. And we are very, very fortunate. ICC is fortunate. And thanks to all the devotees who arrange you always. It's a pleasure to hear you always.
Yeah.
But I want to add, because I have been associating with you for so many years now, off and on, and you keep coming and giving your association. So on this point, Prabhuji, I actually once discussed with one devotee, a very, very senior devotee. He was a senior brahmachari, about this point, that how to consider that we are all fools.
It's a very interesting analogy, and I thought I will ask you, probably, you are a ferocious reader of Bhagavatam. Probably you can take us, there is a contradiction actually in this. And so I thought because since one devotee has asked, I thought I will increase the intensity to his question. So, and you have read Bhagavatam a lot, so it's fortunate for us to hear from your angle. How do you think? So what happens, Prabhuji, that we are all basically coming from the Goluka, right? And there our stage is when we are in the original Swarupa, we are not Buddhu, we are not fools. There we are very much aware of Krishna. But because temporarily we fall down through that Viraja river, and then time, place, circumstances, because of our contamination. But yet at the same time, since Krishna loves music, so we also love music. At the same time, when we get contaminated, we imbibe all the qualities from Krishna. We also imbibe one more quality, not from the Lord, but because of contamination, we feel we are not fools. But originally, we are actually really not fools. Yes. In Goluka, you cannot say that Premadatta, you are a fool even in Goluka. Yes, temporarily, because Prabhupada says the moonlight falls on the the flickering of the moonlight happens in the sea or on the river, it appears moon is flickering. So now how to understand this? That, and through you, I want to know that, Prabhuji, I discussed this question when with Brahmachari, and I told him, Prabhuji, मैं बेवकूफ नहीं हूँ. ओरिजिनली मुझे खुद भागवतम बोलती है कि तुम मेरे ममय वांश हो, तो इसका मतलब या तो अगर मैं बुद्धू हूं तो कृष्णा भी बुद्धू है. करेक्ट. एंड इफ कृष्णा इज नॉट बुद्धू, ही इज नॉट unintelligent, then I am also not intelligent. In this temporary quality, yes. And there is one more quality. If I tell Kalachakra Prabhu, by chance, don't take it me that way, I want to know your feelings on that. See, I'll tell Kalachakra Prabhu, you are unintelligent. You will automatically, that defense mechanism will come. How do you say I am unintelligent? Correct? Now, here we are caught, Prabhuji, because so many devotees, they say, Prabhuji, you are great, but they don't mean it. So many times we hear in Katha, false glorification happens in anywhere, even in offices, even in temple. Prabhuji, you are great, but actually he's not meaning that. So how to really feel that you are fool, really fool, although knowingly that you are really not fool.
Yeah. But at the same time, you think that you are the most intelligent, and also
I'll tell you one more example. I'll give you one more example. Murli Sham Prabhu is our legal team devotee. Once in Mathura base, he was giving a wonderful, he said, little bit of depressive behavior you should adapt in this world. You should become disgust of this material world.
Yeah.
Correct? I'm adding that point. But actually, if you see in Goluka, there is nothing known as mood swing. There is nothing known as discussion. So disgusting with you eat prasadam. Krishna will never say don't eat prasadam. But you eat outside food. Krishna says, you're not offering me, that's why I'm asking you not to eat. So all these points actually we are originally basically very free in nature. But here we have to adapt. So is it that artificially, how Bhagavatam interprets it? Do we have to artificially say, I am Buddhu, I am Buddhu?
No way.
I am saying I am not.
No.
So how do you interpret all this?
It's not my interpretation, Prabhu. I will just give you
sorry.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Your understanding from...
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is showing by practice, that when he approaches the Prakashananda Saraswati and co, they have that thing that, we are all doing this thing, Vedanta Sutra, and we are great, really. We are really somebody. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu adopted a humble mood, he was not doing it to act, to show that, see, I am humble. He was genuinely humble. He was not acting. He was Krishna himself, but still he was acting humbly. And when they asked, why are you dancing and chanting like this, like a madman, he was not agitated. Like you said, if I say you are a madman, you will get agitated. The Chaitanya Prabhu did not get agitated. He was actually feeling very happy internally that people have accepted that I am a madman. That is what I want to become. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to become mad for Krishna. Right? Though he is telling, my spiritual master considered me a fool number one and told me, you please chant, you only chant Hare Krishna mantra, all these Vedantas and all will not come to you. You just do it. Right? So this is the essential behavioral aspect that, I am how much ever, Prabhu, the one thing from the Prabhu is that how much ever we may learn, we know that proverb, right? That the knowledge which we don't know is like ocean. What we know is just like a piece of stone or this little bit, a handful of palm of water or whatever. So much more is left unknown. So from that point of view, we should be humble that I may have some little knowledge, whatever, but that is also by Krishna's mercy. I am not like the inspiration also coming from Krishna's mercy. Dhruva Maharaj was touched by the conch shell by Krishna. That's when he actually started speaking. Otherwise, he had nothing to speak. And Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha, Krishna says, from me comes all knowledge, remembers everything. So we are not the owners. We are not the owners. We are only the temporary, tenants kind of a thing. We are temporarily just using it. That's all. So that is one point, Prabhu. Learning from Chaitanya Prabhu. The other important aspect of how to understand this contradiction between being a fool and being an intelligent at the same time, just give you an example, Prabhu. You studied really hard for exam. You know all the solution to the questions, etc. So nicely you studied. But in the exam, you go and you put wrong answers. What will the teacher do? Will the teacher call you as intelligent or fool?
Sorry, Prabhuji, can you ask me again?
See, when I know.
Yeah. I understood.
I know all
that
the language.
If I fail, whether teacher will call me an intelligent.
I studied. I prepared perfectly. I have all the intelligence. If you ask me the question, I will just tell you easily. But then in the exam, I go and write it wrong. Will the teacher tell me intelligent or fool?
Yes. So
right? No, my point is, we may be having the knowledge, we are the soul, we have the intelligence and everything, but when it comes to application, that is practice, that is where we get attached to Maya and we get into foolish behavior. We get caught up in the gunas. Yes, we are intelligent when we are pure, but when we are impure, we are not intelligent. So when I'm impure, I cannot think that I'm intelligent. Only if I am purifying myself, then I can become intelligent. If I think like that, I was originally intelligent, but I am, because of my imperfection, I am now like this, but I should purify myself, then it falls in balance. Like both intelligence and our current pathetic situation, both fall in place. Do you get my point, Prabhu?
Yeah. So no, 100%.
So we were originally preparing well in the Golokunda. But when it came to writing the exam, we messed up and we were thrown into this material world. So right now we are here. But if I remember that, in the spiritual world I was associating with him, then we will know where we are right now. After writing the exam and getting fail mark, whenever I go to the interviews or anybody for job, they will ask me, what is the mark? I will show I got a fail mark. Then the interviewer will not say, okay, why did you get 5 marks? Then I will say, I studied very nicely, but in the exam I slept or I missed out, I was not keeping well, etc., etc. How much will the interviewer or the person will believe us? They will go by what is our current state, isn't it? So that is what we should always be aware of, our original state, constitutional position, and we should also be aware of the conditional state. That is what all the acharyas show us. Prahlad Maharaj, he knows, he is directly, Krishna is standing in front of him, came all the way just to save him. Who will get that benediction? But when he is speaking, he is so humble.
Correct. So that means if in one birth you try to achieve perfection, and sometimes the material body, what you get because of our own, the Trigoni Bhav, when we left the other body, we may get more conducive body next human birth, which is more intelligent, and then we progress further in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Then we keep moving ahead. Then Krishna says, now I should give him more Krishna conscious body.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe this is one reason why we see sometimes, personally I feel brahmacharis bodies are, I have seen in temple, they are very lean and thin and they wake up early. I am very impressed by them. And then they are always in their own mood of serving Krishna. I have seen in ICC also brahmachari. Mostly you see brahmacharis, that glimpse is seen. In grihasthas, because of this, maybe it doesn't come. but brahmacharis, it's easy to attain that. So maybe you are right that it's a progress janma by
very
janma.
interesting thing. Kam kha and a gam ka. It's said, it's very पेट रखो नरम, पैर रखो गरम, सिर रखो ठंडा, फिर भी आए वैद्य तो मारो डंडा. So
Good
पेट
one,
रखो नरम, just keep little, then we will also be, with that we will be able to, as your question originally you asked, that will work.
So I feel Anjan Prabhu has asked this, Prabhuji. I also would like to add that, and hearing from you, I would feel my years of experience with KC is, I now feel to remain in reality and just keep serving without contemplating whether I'm a fool or not. And
No,
just,
that's what.
Just continue serving in Krishna.
Yeah, don't be too much thinking that I'm a fool. I'm a fool.
Exactly.
Prabhupada said you're most insignificant.
Why I am saying is, Prabhuji, when I was, whenever I have spoken to some devotees whom I always wanted to take initiation, they will say, "Arey Prabhu, मैं तो कर ही नहीं सकता initiation, बहुत दूर की बात है." If that would have been the case, I would have never got initiated.
These things happen automatically, Prabhu. These things happen automatically, It's a thing.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
I know
Prabhu.
time is passing by.
No problem. No, I could hear you, so that's nice. Sachitanya Prabhu, yes, Sachitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Yes,
Dandavat. Thanks for the wonderful class. Realized essence you actually delivered today. Very wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And talking about intelligence, intelligence itself means how much we want to more and more associate with Lord is what I think we can understand it that way. That's why it is said, always remember Krishna and don't forget Krishna, which means that is a sign of intelligence. You follow this and you will be called intelligent person. And love for Krishna in spiritual world, it is never ending. It can always grow. So when we compare ourselves at any point of time, we will remain a fool.
Intelligence is only about how to approach Krishna. That's all. All the material intelligence is supposed to help us go there, get there. That's all. Thank you, Prabhu. You said it so rightly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for answering all the questions very patiently. That's very nice, and we always enjoy having your association. Thank you for giving us the.
Same here. Really wonderful to see all the known devotees here. Malini Mataji is there. Then I saw Narahari Prabhu also, I think. And then Sankarshan Priya Prabhu, so many of them. Premdata Prabhu today was there. It's very nice to, he's always one of the enthusiastic person there. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity again. So this is something we really enjoy. And thank you, devotees, for actually, I know we just went a little overboard, but you all very patiently, listen to the particular class as well. And
इसके अलावा और बच्चा भी क्या है, प्रभु जी? We should never feel.
No, Prabhu, that is there. But when we have time, we always want to make sure we also, try to keep to the time conscious so that people are more inspired to come.
Why I'm saying this is you are a moderator here, so it is always good to moderate, but it's good you are managing it perfectly. क्योंकि घर रुक के करेंगे भी क्या, प्रभु? भागवतम के अलावा everything is useless.
It's true, Prabhu.
But anyway,
thank you, Prabhu. So we'll just end the class with the Vaishnava Pranam. One second.
Thank you so much, Prabhu Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a glorious way to start the Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll just end the session now.
Thank you.